It's early fall in Colorado, and that means the aspen trees are just bursting with color. This week, we took a trip to 11 Mile Reservoir, where some of our friends are staying at the state park. Why don't you join us, and let's do a little leaf peeping along the way. Welcome to RV Retirement Redesign, where we are redesigning and redefining. We're redesigning our retirement and redefining RV living, not because we want a cheap way to survive, but because we want to thrive in this new season of life on our terms. This is the first time that I have videotaped on the move in the car, so I apologize for some of this rocking, and I'm going to try to keep you from getting car sick. But I wanted you to see right away, just coming up the mountain, you get to see the glorious fall colors right away, just coming out of, well, actually, across the street we see the fall colors. Aspens are all over the place, intermixed in the trees, the evergreen trees in Colorado. I had some real problems actually even taping this, because every time I thought, well, we're not going to see a few color spots for a minute, I'd put the camera down and whoops, right away, here comes another glorious spot. So they really are all over. They usually just last a couple weeks, not even a full week. You really need to go when they are at their most glorious, because they do dry very quickly. And then once they dry, it is the fall, literally, season, where you will literally hear the crunch of aspen leaves under your feet everywhere you go. So why is it so fun to watch these leaves? Well, everybody knows from their elementary school how a green leaf is green because it has a pigment known as chlorophyll, and that process actually is what allows the plant to contain substance and survive. And when it's really prevalent in the leaf cells during the growing season, that chlorophyll's green color dominates, and it really masks out any other pigments that might be in the leaf. Now, chlorophyll has a vital function according to Wikipedia. It captures the solar rays. It uses the resulting energy in the manufacturing of this plant's food, which is basically simple sugars that are produced from water and carbon dioxide. And this is the plant's nourishment. It's the sole source of carbohydrates that a plant needs for growth. Well, what happens is as autumn approaches and the daylight hours shorten, the temperatures, especially up in the mountains, become a little bit more cool. The veins that carry those fluids in and out of the leaf gradually close off, and they form a special layer of cork cells. And these form at the base of each leaf. And as the cork layer develops, water and minerals intake into the leaf is reduced, slowly at first and then more rapidly. So the amount of chlorophyll that comes in the leaf begins to decrease as well. So even though the veins might still be green, the leaf starts changing color. And that is dependent on the carotenoids. That's the red, yellow, orange pigments that are produced by the plants. And this carotenoid gives the characteristic of color, not just to these aspen leaves, but to pumpkins, carrots, corn, tomatoes, canaries, flamingos, salmon, lobster, shrimp, and daffodils. So really important nutrient for the aspen leaves, and the major reason for the color that we get to see. One of the things that consistently fascinates me about the Pikes Peak region is the rocks and the rock formations, and they are just amazing how they have cracked and stacked and all those things. And you really worry sometimes that these things are falling, and they do. So it is something that, you don't have to be concerned about, but yet you do have to be watchful while you're driving up the road. After years and years and years of different layers of magma that has been pushed up through the earth, you can just see so many different types of rocks. And again, they are just so fascinating. There is a lot of rock collecting that goes along here. Most of it is predominantly smoky quartz, ammonite, topaz, and a variety of other kinds of, semi-precious stones, if you will. And it's just gorgeous. You also can find some dinosaur fossils in this area, and places that you can actually do some actual mining of them. So depending on what you like to see here, There is so much to see and do just in and around the Pikes Peak region. So now we're on the road that actually takes us into 11 Mile. And again, you see just how the trees are so brilliant in amongst those rocks and the other green trees. It's just amazing. And this is what's great. Even if you are a stationary RV liver, there are places that you can go in your own area that you can really just absorb. There are also special little things along the way. Here is a grave of a Vietnam, Mexican-American Civil War veteran. On the roads, you can also see all these really old cabins and places where pioneers just, lived in those very difficult times. There are some root cellars and small little, I don't know if they're actually cabins or if they're just other kinds of outbuildings that are still standing from the 1800s, and it's just fascinating. I always look at these things and try to think of the stories behind them. We are now in Park County in the Pike National Forest on County Road 92. In this area, there's actually some dispersed camping available. You can stay here for up to 14 days, and it's absolutely beautiful. If you are interested in a very different experience, we highly recommend going in and checking out Black Tree Resort. This is glamping at its finest. They give you a golf cart to even run around the property on. Gourmet meals delivered to you, and oh my gosh, it's just delicious and just a beautiful place to experience camping on a whole different level. There are no campsites, so you can't bring your RVs, but you just might want to experience glamping in a tent like you've never tried it before. I've put some links below for you. Now, the golden aspens are so brilliant sometimes they almost hurt your eyes. But I'll tell you, my very favorite was this only patch that we saw on this particular trip, where they had the brilliant yellow turning orange with the fire top reds on the top of the trees. They are so gorgeous. These pictures don't even do them justice. But look at these lucky people that had these fiery trees right outside of their home, and they are absolutely gorgeous. Now, I have the privilege to have traveled quite a bit in my life, but I don't remember anywhere that is as fascinating to me as something like this. You have the mountain, you have the evergreen trees, you have those amazing rock formations, and now look at this variety of fall color, nature just changing right before your eyes. We had a great time visiting our friends at the 11 Mile Reservoir State Park, and I'm going to do a future video where you'll be able to see more about that park. It is a great place to stay. You do have to make reservations, but it is beautiful, and it's actually one of Bob's, I'm going to say playgrounds, although he calls it working. As a fishing guide, he spends a lot of time on that lake. And it was a beautiful day. We had a great time with our friends, and then it was time to head home. It's always amazing how the scenery looks just a little bit different on your return visit. The sun was a little bit obscured because of the clouds, but oh my gosh, who wouldn't want to have a vista like this in front of you while you're driving and knowing that you're heading into this on your way home, that it's so close and so achievable to go and visit, not just for this one little trip, but year after year. Another one of those opportunities because you are stationary. And then we see this sign which says, hey, you're almost home. And we know we are because we hit the dreaded traffic jam. All the peepers that have been up in the mountains are heading home too. We want to thank our friend Jerry for coming along with us on this trip. She loves the outdoors, especially fly fishing and aspen peeping. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We so appreciate your support. Hey, thanks for tuning in today. We're so glad you came to visit, and we'll see you next week.